It is Monday, June 26th of 2023, and you are watching Guy's Daily Drive. Bam! Welcome everyone to Guy's Daily Drive. I have got, for a change, I've got a lot of stuff to talk about, and none of it is earth-shaking. It's just stuff. Number one, if you've watched, only if you've watched Guy's Daily Drive over on the YouTube channel or through the Vert Shark webpage, that is mine, you'll probably notice a slight difference in how the phone is situated and the view that it's giving. And that's because I have a new mount. Now, last Thursday, I went to do a Guy's Daily Drive, and there's a little plastic nut on the back of the old mount that kind of holds, there's two to three parts to these mounts. You've got the one part that hangs onto the mirror, and that's where it's kind of dangling from. And then you've got like this arm that comes down with a little ball at the end of it. And then the actual mount that holds onto the phone has an opening that the ball goes into, and then you use this plastic nut that screws on, and that holds everything tight and in place. So last Thursday, I go to start the show, and that nut just kept kind of half going on, and then it would slip a thread and it would go back, and half go on and slip a thread, and I could not keep it in place. It just would not stay in place. So I was like, damn it, what do I do? So I didn't want to get the exact same kind, because I'd only had that other one a little more than a year and it failed. So it's like, well, let's try a different one. So this one, and when I looked, there was actually one that if I ordered it before a certain time in the morning, would be there Thursday evening. And so that's the one I ordered. And it did show up Thursday evening. And it's different. I mean, it still has like the little claw things to hold onto the mirror. But the way that you adjust it to fit the mirror is different, and it only has 3 tongs instead of 4 tongs, and it was harder to fit on. Friday, I actually kind of used bits and pieces from both so that I could do a Guy's Daily Drive, but it was, if you're going to buy a new mount, then use the new mount. So yesterday, in between editing the My Mac podcast, I went out to the car and took off the old mount and put on the new mount. And the arm that swings down, that has little ball joints that works in pretty much exactly the same way, is extended. So it hangs down, and you can adjust it, but this is like the minimum length that I can use. So I could bring it down even further, but this is about as far down as I really wanted to go and still be able to see me. So that part of it is not really being used. But the other thing that it does is the long arm that kind of hangs there has its own screw in the back, and you can loosen that and then swing the whole thing up toward the mirror so it's out of, not in the way of you driving. Not that it's in the way of me driving right now. I mean, obviously you can't see it, but where it's hanging right now, it's, oh God, how to explain this? It's kind of, as far as my line of sight goes, it's like looking at the hood of my car. So it's not blocking my view out the front window in any way, shape, or form. So that's a good thing. But I mean, we'll see how much I like this. And these things are cheap. This was like $13. So it's not like it was going to break the bank. And if I have to buy one every year because the stupid nut that hangs onto the ball wears out and doesn't hold on to it anymore properly, then okay. It would be nicer if I could find one that was sturdier, I guess. But there's no real way to know. So we'll see how this one works over the course of time. What else? I watched both USFL North and South Championship games yesterday. And the Northern Championship game was very exciting. It went to overtime. And the Pittsburgh Maulers, who I don't think I would have picked to win anything based on their record, though based on their records, the entire Northern Division was not doing that great. But they beat the Michigan Panthers in overtime. And the overtime rules for the USFL are kind of interesting. Instead of, doing the whole kickoff and then, one team gets the ball, tries to score, the other team gets the ball, and then after that, the first team to score wins, which takes forever. Instead, they do a round robin of 3 attempts from, it's like the 2 or 3 yard line. And Pittsburgh got the first one. Michigan did not. Pittsburgh got the second one, which meant that Michigan had to get the last 2, assuming that Pittsburgh didn't get their third. But their second attempt they blew. So Pittsburgh won the Northern Championship, and I have to say that they won it on defense. Their defense was very, very strong. And that kind of makes me wonder how Birmingham, because Birmingham won the Southern Championship by a lot. I mean, it was relatively close going into halftime. It was like 10-3 going into halftime. But then coming out, Birmingham just walked away with it. It was, New Orleans scored a few more points, but the outcome by the end of really halfway through the third quarter was really no longer in doubt. New Orleans just wasn't able to hang with Birmingham, and Birmingham won it all last year. So we'll see if they can repeat that. But Pittsburgh's defense is no joke, and Birmingham, I think, really, really needs to look out. And I think I was kind of surprised that Birmingham's quarterback lasted that game, because he got hit with like at least 2 face masks, grabs, and one of them, I thought his head was like almost halfway around. I was surprised he came back from that, but he played a hell of a game. So we'll see this coming Saturday. It's going to be Birmingham versus Pittsburgh up in Canton, Ohio for the championship game. And I will be watching that. Sorry, excuse me. Now, the last thing that I want to talk about is the redemption of Star Trek on TV. Yeah, I know, it's kind of a potpourri of topics today. When the Paramount Plus started creating new Star Trek shows, the one show that they had was kind of their flagship, for lack of a better term, was Discovery. And quite frankly, it was awful. It was just, I've never really enjoyed it. Third season was better, but that still doesn't mean that I was liking it. And fourth season, just a whole lot of nothing. And so they're coming out with a fifth season, and that's supposed to be the last one, and it's like, please let it be the last one. They did so much that was just wrong as far as Star Trek goes. And it took an animated series, Star Trek Lower Decks, to make me enjoy watching Star Trek on TV, new episodes of Star Trek on TV again. First two seasons of Picard were also not great. But if there was one thing that came out of Discovery, it was introducing Captain Pike through Discovery as the captain of the ship for part of the season anyway. And then bringing back the classic Pike #1 Spock crew in Star Trek Strange New Worlds. First season of Star Trek Strange New Worlds was terrific. It was the most enjoyable first season of a Star Trek show, which has a real rocky kind of history. Most first seasons of Star Trek shows are not that good, and it's always been amazing to me that some of these shows have managed to get to the second and third seasons. And Next Gen, which everybody holds up as a shining example, was no different. Next Generation's first season was just dreadful. So that's how I felt about that. But Star Trek Strange New Worlds' first season was actually quite enjoyable, and it got back to for the most part, not doing season-long story arcs. There were some stories that kind of went from show to show, or some arcs that went from show to show. But for the most part, it was like, okay, here's this thing. We have to deal with this thing. There's some drama, and then the thing is resolved, and we move on to the next episode. And that's a winning formula. It was a winning formula for Next Generation. It was a winning formula for the original series, and it seems to be a winning formula for Strange New Worlds. So now the second season has come out, and somebody's watching. Sandra! Hi, Sandra! The second season has been just as good. I've only seen the first 2 episodes, and they dealt with the end of season 1 drama relatively quickly with a very satisfying conclusion. And it's just been really good. And I'm looking forward to the rest of this season, especially the crossover that they're going to do. And I have no idea how this is going to work, but it's fun and funny, and I appreciate the fact that they're even attempting it. Even if it turns out to be a colossal disaster, at least they tried. This crossover with Lower Decks, which is not only crossing over between a live-action show and a cartoon show, but 2 completely different time eras as well. And I have no idea how this is going to work, but I'm looking forward to it, and I can't wait to see what they do. And of course, the 4th season, I think, 4th season of Lower Decks is coming out later this year as well. And there's another show that's coming, and I can't think of what it is off the top of my head, but that's fine. You know, give me more Star Trek. I can always watch more Star Trek. That is gonna do it for today. I am almost to work, so I have got to cut this out. Thank you all for joining me today on Guy's Daily Drive. It is greatly, greatly appreciated. I really, really do appreciate the fact that you take time out of your day to either watch or listen to the various ramblings that I do while I'm on my way to work. I think that it's fun for me as well, which is why I keep doing it. If you would like to contribute, and you don't have to, I'm gonna keep doing this no matter what, unless I have a compelling reason not to. You can go and become a Patreon, patreon.com/MacParrot. You can buy me a coffee at ko-fi.com/MacParrot, or pay a pal at paypal.me/MacParrot. If you'd like to get a hold of me and make any comments on the stuff that I talk about here, or over at the My Mac podcast that I do with Gaz, you can do so by sending me an email to guy@mymac.com or podcast@vertshark.com. Vertshark.com is the website that you can get links to all of the videos that I do over there on the tubes of you. And if you would like to subscribe, I'm in, Guy's Daily Drive is in most of the podcast aggregators that's out there. Easy to find, easy to subscribe, easy to listen to. It's 12 to 18 minutes of content once or twice a week that even the boss can enjoy. And only people that are old will know what that's a reference to. Anyway, I think that is going to do it for today. And again, thank you all for watching. And I will, what is this guy doing? No idea. There we go. We'll see all of you next time, right here on Guy's Daily Drive. Thanks a lot. Bye.